So we want to grow our revenue streams. We want to have plenty of money in the bank to answer the calling, to say yes to the Lord. We're going to go there. We're going to say yes. We're not worried about money. We're so blessed. Here we go. What's working now? What's working now for artists? Well, I would say that artists of any level, from A-list to B-list to no list, to like you wish you were on a list, from the top to the bottom, the vast majority of artists right now are making their money and supporting their ministry at live dates. If you wonder why your ministry is not flourishing or why it's not growing, and you only have 20 dates on the books this year and 4 of them were pay-to-play events, that's a whole nother video series, and you wonder why you don't have the resources you need to grow this thing, it's because you gotta have dates. Now, there are other revenue streams that are out there that I think are important. Having your music on the radio can bring some money long-term. Having our music on satellite radio, that's a tough nut to crack. There are strategies and ways to do that, and we've helped artists do that in the past. And so those can bring some income, but I'm telling you, far and away, by a mile, especially when you're starting out, 95, maybe 98% of your revenue as a ministry, as an artist, is going to come from doing live dates. Now, let's break down some different types of live dates. What about that live date that you go to where 4 or 5 other artists were also there that night? Okay, that night is probably not going to be as lucrative for you as the date where you went and sang by yourself, where you were the featured artist, where they brought you in. But sometimes we'll jump on that date with the 4 or 5 other artists because it was easier to book, or we were just able to get in there, or they're going to let us open for them, or we were asked to come sing. Hey, come sing on this night of gospel music. That's awesome. Yeah, there are going to be 4 other groups there, and you're like, okay, that's cool. And the groups are even bigger than my brand, and so that's awesome. Maybe I'll have a chance to grow. But then you spend a couple $100 to get there in a hotel room and gas and food, and you come back and you're $400 or $500 deep in that whole thing, and they paid you $100 or nothing, and you sold $200 or $300 worth of product tops, because there's all these other groups there that were competing for product sales, and it was a losing proposition for you financially. Now, did God move? Of course he did. Of course he did. But we're talking about your business model. And here's something you need to write down. If you don't have a working business model, then it won't be long before you don't have a working ministry. You need to know where your resources are coming from. So I want to encourage you to go out, especially at the beginning, sing as many dates as you can, because you got to get out there. You got to get out there and get in some reps. You got to get in front of audiences and work out all this stuff that we're teaching in the course. But another thing you're going to have to work out is, where does my financial support come from? And when you're first starting, the majority of the time it's going to come from love offerings. Occasionally a flat rate is like a flat rate or fee that a venue or church pays you to come there and sing. And typically, you'll also be allowed then to sell your music afterwards. And so for that church or that venue to pay you to come there and sing, they're gonna have to trust you first. And maybe if you're just getting started, you haven't earned that trust or that reputation, or you might not really have that brand yet. So the vast majority of artists that are Christian or gospel artists will start by singing in churches or Christian venues, and they'll go for a love offering, meaning at some point in the concert, they're going to pass the plates and receive money to support that artist. Well, if you're on a ticket with 5 or 6 other artists and they pass those plates and that gets cut up 9 ways from Sunday, then you might not even be able to cover your expenses for going. But listen, if it was a half hour away from your house and it was on a Friday night and you were free anyways, and it didn't take away from another date, well, by all means, you should go. You should go, get some more reps in, meet some more people, network, develop some relationships. But you can't go there expecting to necessarily cover your expenses for the night. It's probably not going to happen. So you need more and more and more dates where you are the featured artist, where you are the one where they've said, hey, come and minister to us. We're going to give you 45 minutes or an hour and 15 minutes. We used to ask, our group, we used to ask for 90 minutes. We used to ask for 90 minutes, and I would say that 98 to 99% of our concerts, we were the featured artist and the only artist. And we were doing about 160, 170 dates a year. And that's one of the key reasons that that ministry was able to support 6 families full time. And it was a love offering ministry. Yeah, like about 95 to 97% love offerings. So we were able to do that because we were the only artist there. So it's not like we were splitting offerings with anybody. And it's not like we were, half the people bought that band's product and the other half of the people bought our product. We didn't have that situation. It wasn't something we had to fight. So if all of your money is at these live dates, if that's where the most of your support is going to be coming from, then you need to make sure that you're the featured artist at those dates. Now, your money at these dates is going to come from way more than your love offerings. And we're going to touch on some of these different topics, but it's going to come from love offering. It's going to come from product sales. It's going to come from monthly donations. It's going to come from bundles, partnerships, large gifts. There's a lot of different ways that's going to come, and all of them stem from you being the featured artist at a live date. So that's why the booking chapter is so important. You got to be out there. If you want your ministry to grow, you got to be out there, man. Just get 40, 50, 60 dates a year under your belt, and you'll be amazed at how much better you get at this and how much momentum you can pick up and how much the cash flow will start to be positive if you honor some of these principles that we're about to teach. Okay? So you gotta be doing live music. Streaming is not going to be enough to cover you, not unless you have millions of streams. Okay? Radio is not going to be enough to cover you. Music publishing is probably not going to be enough to cover you unless you're a prolific writer. And even them, it's a struggle in Christian and gospel music. So live dates is where it happens. If you want to figure out where the funding and where the support is for your ministry, the answer is live dates. Go do concerts. Go do services. That's where 98% of it is.